Okay. Oh, is it exporting is the wrong thing? Probably. Whatever. I don't care. Hi guys. I realize nobody's gonna be here yet. But feel free to ask me questions once you get here. Please and thank you. Burp and home. Post this link for you guys again in Patreon, just in case you don't remember it. Burp. Alright, so I hate how the screen is so small. Okay, so I am going to be working on a very sturdy cap out of Warbler. It's going to be completely covered. So normally Warbler is overkill, I would say, for something that you're going to cover up. It's really expensive. But unfortunately, what I'm making will have a rather heavy piece forward and back, which means that there's a lot of balance that's going to be on it. So because of that, I want something extremely sturdy, and yeah, this will do that. There are other ways to go about it that are certainly cheaper, but they take a lot more time, and I don't have any. Also, I'm lazy, and this is easy. So that's what I'm going to be working on. For those of you who have questions, feel free to ask questions, either about what I'm working on, or if you have a project that you want to ask questions about, go for it. But yeah, and if I look down for long periods of time and don't see your questions, I'm sorry. I'm doing a thing. Are you going to continue with your tutorial series on YouTube? Yes, I am. The problem has been I don't have... Pandora, I don't need you anymore. The problem I have had is that right now, invite your friends, because I'm only getting $300 a month from Patreon, and that only really gets me one day a month to work on everything I do for you guys, in terms of like if I'm getting paid for my 10-hour day. And I do work more than that already, but it really restricts what I can and cannot do, because I need to work to eat and, pay rent, the little things. So right now it's going very slowly because I have to be working on those things. Right now I'm working on, I'm actually very frantically working on some Batwing designs, and I'm hoping to post a tutorial on that sooner rather than later. I kind of wanted it to be one video. It's probably gonna, because it's really not too terribly complicated, but it's gonna probably end up being 2 videos, and that's probably the next thing. And I realize it's not the next in the series, but I guess I'm trying to work out how to get stuff done for you guys, but also eat. So, it will continue, but it's slow going, and I'm really sorry that it's as slow going as it is, but hopefully by the end of the year, I will be all caught up, and I can concentrate more on this and less on just producing stuff. Could you produce a step-by-step tutorial on how to make mechanical wings? Yes. Those are actually going up on YouTube now. And there are some up already. I'm the kind of person that makes very thorough tutorials rather than quick tutorials. Part of that is because the process itself is so long and there are so many details that I feel like a lot of the tutorials that I pieced together when I made mine took forever and didn't go into the whys or the hows or whatever of making a set of wings. And so I felt that there were pieces missing and I didn't understand why I was doing stuff, and then I would do it and I'd be like, this is a stupid way of going about it. There's another way I could do it. I would like to do it a different way, and I would then try it a different way. And so I'm trying to encompass like all of my knowledge in these videos so that if you want to redesign it from scratch and just take mine as your base, you could totally do that. So again, it's slow going. They're going up. I think there's already like 3 half-hour videos. They take a long time to edit. It's a giant pain, but I like doing it. I just don't have time. So, yeah, thanks, Becca. Yeah, I'm good. I'll be fine. It's just, especially with the orders from Halloween and before, I've got a lot of orders kind of backed up, and random stuff keeps happening to, like, I'm behind by, I think, about 2 months. And I have this one cosplayer who I will, she hasn't given me permission to give shout outs. She probably doesn't care, but I'm going to make sure before I do. She wants to cosplay the Soulfire, and I'm making her Soulfire wings, and she paid for them at the beginning of the year, but it was a prototype, and I have learned a lot over the course of trying to make them, and it's awesome, but she still doesn't have them, and it's been almost a year now. So they're gonna be awesome when she gets them though. But you know, it's kind of one of those things where as hard, it almost seems like as hard as I work, it never seems to catch up. But I've stopped taking orders altogether until I catch up with what I have, which will probably be at the end of the year. So that's when tutorials will probably start rolling out a lot quicker. What? Why did I put all the spices in? Because I'm trying to clean up!
They're not all there.
No, they're only the 2 bottom ones. Oh. I moved everything over. It's just the 2 bottom ones. Well, no, there's stuff that is mixed group also, but the ones that were in your pile are on the bottom 2. Sorry. Is that all for now? Anybody else? Anybody? Okay. I'm gonna start working on my thing then. And listen to music. Should probably put on headphones. Nah. Oh. Probably can't play music without headphones because then it's gonna get whatever copyright YouTube. Darn it. Do I have headphones in here? Yes. Derp, derp, derp. Of course it's a mess. Ah. Bam. Oops. Hello, Grace. How are you? What is a good material to use for frames for non-mechanical wings? So long as they're not moving, I use 9-gauge galvanized wire. Home Depot, it's like the all-purpose whatever. It comes in a ginormo roll. And I can typically make like 2 adult-sized wings out of 1 roll. And it's awesome. Because you can also pose them. So, that's my frame material of choice, and then like if they're really big, you know, put chicken wire and then felt over top, and then put your feathers on top of that, and then you have a wing. Ah! You're welcome, Haley. I should probably do that. I don't want to. Nope. Yes. I haven't cut out this other piece yet. I'm an idiot. Go away. Let's do these. We are glad we came across you, says JSFX. I did have a question about stringing the feathers together. What's the best string and how do you do that? So, I actually posted an overview video where I posted what I did have of me creating or doing the stringing, and I did it several times over on that, so you can watch that in terms of like how to tie the knot and how to string it through. You basically just punch a hole, and then I almost made this too small. Okay. You basically punch a hole and on either side of the wire, and then you're gonna end up stringing it like a fan. And for larger ones, I use paracord, and then for smaller ones, I'll even just use I don't even know what it is, but it's for jewelry. It's a type of string that I get at Michael's in the jewelry section. But you just basically want something, but that's for really small sets. You basically just want something that doesn't have any give, like any stretch to it. And, you know, the thinner you can go, the better, but the thinner you go, the more likely it is to expand under that stress. So, like fishing line, for example, is a terrible choice. Because it has so much give. You don't think of it as having really all that much give, but it does. And so yeah, that's my material of choice. I think is just paracord, easiest way to go. And yeah, watch the latest Patreon video. I actually am going to post that public here pretty quick. In the probably next week. Also. I'm going to pronounce her name wrong. Kiriana says, do you have any ideas on how to get the wings to flap without interfering with the mechanisms to open them? Absolutely. Well, in terms of the motors, there are pneumatic systems that work pretty well. I have not managed to find a good motor because there's just a whole lot of weight, especially on my larger wings. That's the problem. On the smaller wings, it works just fine, but anything too big and for smaller wings, I was using the chair back adjustment motor. And for smaller wings, it's fine. For larger wings, there's just too much weight. For pneumatics, there are basically these partial rotational pneumatics that, do a half turn or a quarter turn or whatever it is you want them to do. So, yeah. And that's at Mcmaster as well as the pneumatic cylinders. So, you can... Oh, no, it's not. Oh, I have a bookmark somewhere. I don't know. What have I done? Hold up. YouTube. I am pretty sure. No, live streaming. Whoops. Alright, so, okay, I don't think that it totally cut me off. Good. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was looking up. I don't know if I have. Hey. No. No. Here we go. Is this what I want? Maybe. No. Oh, I don't know what I did with that. Nope. Nope. Fine. Do. Just gonna look this up. Because now I want to know. I can't remember where I got the pneumatic ones. Log in. Dirty it. Notes. Dirty. Nope. Wait, where did I put this? Nope. God, I think I would put important information. Festo. Yeah, okay. That was the right link. Why didn't I put it freaking... Alright. So, if I go herp and derp to Festo, semi-rotation, where'd it go? EMS. There we go. Okay. So, Festo USA. Where are... No, I don't want piston rods or cylinders. That's my problem. Rotary actuators. Aha! I found it. I'm an idiot. Also tired. This here. Go back to YouTube. There's probably 1,000 comments wondering what the heck I'm doing here. There. There's some rotational motors. Or sorry, not motors. Pneumatics. You have to do pneumatics for that. What is your favorite type of wing to create? Do you prefer realistic or more fantasy-like? I prefer more fantasy-like. I do definitely... I think that even fantasy wings need to be somewhat realistic. It actually really drives me nuts when wings are not realistic in some way, in function and anatomy, just because I'm such an anatomy nerd. When it comes to birds, they have really incredible anatomy, and so it's almost an insult when it doesn't seem functional. Now, obviously, people can't, like, the way birds' wings are is they're their arms, and so it's like, obviously, we wouldn't, unless we were an insect, have wings. At least not the way the angels, angels are depicted. But I do like crazy shapes. Birds' wings are pretty. I don't know. They're not super varied and crazy. Bird tails are, but for the most part, bird wings just don't have a lot going on because they're functional. They're for flight. So there's a design that works, and they stuck to it. And so I think, but I do think that like you have to have that element of realism for them to even look possible. And it bugs me. It bugs me. I don't know if it bugs anybody else because I see a lot of people that like make a vague wing shape and then they throw feathers on it and they call it a wing. And I'm like, that doesn't look like a wing. Like the feathers aren't patterned right and the proportion is totally off. And blah, 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 blah. I'm awful. So, but I do like fantastical shapes and colors and patterning. And some people throw ideas at me and want me to make stuff and then don't like my prices because I'm not in China. And I'm always like, dang it, I really want to do that because it's cool fantasy craziness. But like dragon wings with feathers on them and cool color patterns and cool, fun, like swoopy shapes that wouldn't really occur in nature. Mm-hmm. Oh, whatever. Thank you. You're welcome. When did you make your first pair of wings? I think 3 years ago. And it was a static set, and it was awful. And that's one of those things with the tutorials. Like I saw a tutorial, and I liked the look of the wings that they made, but I didn't like, when I made it exactly like they said to make it, and they omitted that you have to clip off the quill, and they used a really crappy, feather for the top. It was just like that goose down stuff that, or not goose, a turkey with the like flat head, and they look really weird, and they said to use 12 gauge wire instead of 9 gauge, which doesn't even make any sense. And I don't know, a whole lot of things. And I just made it the way they said, and it didn't look good or feel good. They were super floppy, and so I improved on it. And that's kind of what I do with all my stuff is like I try it out and then realize that I don't like it. So if you were standing in a field and an ostrich ran at you, wings extended, would you give that bird a big hug? No. Ostriches are crazy vicious. So I wouldn't be able to outrun it, but I'm pretty sure I could scare it away. Chris from New Zealand. Oh my gosh, another Chris. Sorry, I know way too many. Like, both my husband and the best man at my wedding. Chris. What is the average weight of a set of wings? Depends on the size, and the average weight is I guess 15 pounds technically, but the smallest set I make is a pound, if that, and then the largest set I make is 30 pounds. So it really depends on what you're making. Thank you for answering my question. You are welcome. I'm sorry. Those birds are crazy vicious and territorial and whatnot. Like, if it was my parrot and my parrot comes flying at me, I'll give him a big hug. Actually, I'll give him a little hug. Because he's my buddy. But, yes, strange, random birds. I'm sorry. I'm a pragmatist. Like, very impractical to go hugging violent birds. It's like short walk to a shallow grave right there. I do think ostriches are cool, though. I wish I knew enough to ask a question. Well, you don't have to ask a question about wings or a project. You can ask, I don't know, you can ask whatever you want. Or you don't have to ask. You just watch me heat gun my way through this project. Nope. This way. Yes. Oh, this one's not warm enough. You. There. I see your question there, Ollie. Just give me a second. No. Stop. Alright. Stay down. Okay. Hot. Ow. Alright. Ollie McDonald, I guess I'll ask another question. If you could have real wings, what bird wings would yours be based on? Like hummingbird, blue jay, owl. Ooh. That's a tough one. Hummingbird would probably be pretty practical. I'm tiny, and also hovering is kick-ass. Unfortunately, and I would stay skinny because it requires lots and lots of it requires a high metabolism and lots of eating, which I think would be really great. So I was gonna go with owl because they're silent. I don't know, they're great hunters, but actually hummingbird would be really cool because then I could hover and buzz about and eat all I wanted without getting fat. Let's do that. If it was wings only and not that super high metabolism to go along with their function, I would pick owl. But if it comes along with high metabolic function, I'm going to go with hummingbird. I mean, like, parrot wings are cool, but they're not, like, I don't know. Like, geese are cool, they could do long distance, but meh. For everyday use, I don't see much practicality in that. Like, jay, meh. Again, like, when I think of what bird wing I want, I try and think of the really cool function, and, like, the owl wings are cool because you're just silent. And you sneak up on people. I'm trying to think. Albatross, also very cool, because they can just glide forever. Vulture, same kind of deal, though more an inland bird versus ocean. I guess I'd go for vulture if we're talking, like, straight aloft time. I should probably cut this wall as well. Okay. Heck yes, I'll always be my choice. Yeah. What kind of feathers could I use for making wings? I mean, where do I get them? So, the large fake feathers you have to make, obviously. The smaller feathers, like the turkey quills that I use, I get, I think they're actually, if you look in the description, I don't know if the description's up until, oh, never mind, it's not up in there. Alright, I'll post it. But, basically, I go to, tonyhill.net for my smaller goose, like shoulder feathers, which I use for the little fuzzies at the top. They're great for sewing. And then I go to Smiley Me, like smiley face with the Y, SmileyMe.com for my bulk turkey quills. And most things require a pound. Though I guess if you're making a really small set, you won't need an entire pound. but meh. It's up to you. I don't know what you're making. When it comes to that wire you were talking about for wing frame, do you have to cut it or weld it? Sorry, so I mean, you can weld it together. I think if you want. I never have. I just tape it with electrical tape, and you want a good, I'd say, a minimum of 6 inches of overlap for the taping, and then it's usually good. Like, I've never had any problems. You can tack weld it, or even solder it if you want to be like super crazy about it. But I'm lazy, and so far so good with the tape. So, but you do need to cut it. You're gonna have like this ginormous spool, and I do the whole thing in one go, and then I put a couple of extra supports along the top, spanning across the back brace and through either wing, so from one side to the other, to help keep things stable. But yeah, like the wire you need on that spool is about half of a spool, so. I am the commissioner of the Golden Eagle Wings and Tail. How heavy do you think the wings will be? Oh, the harpy ones? Actually, I need to talk to you because I have to move this week and next week, and I'm kind of freaking out because I was not planning on moving. So, how late can I push this back? Because, like, I have all the feathers, but I don't have the time to work on them right now because I need to move. They're going to be, each wing, they are going to be a little heavy. They're about 5 pounds on either side, so you're not going to be standing with your arms open. Unless you strong, which is not impossible. But they're heavy enough. They're not heavy enough that you can't open them and, you know, flail about and have some fun. You could even do, if you've got the arm strength, like if you do feather fans, like in burlesque. If you can do a 5-minute performance with those, you could probably do a 5-minute performance with these. And then the tail, I don't know, is going to weigh probably only like 3 pounds because it's not going to have the heavy wire or any of the hardware on it to make it so that it can move with your arm. It's also not going to have half as many feathers on it. Those will weigh like 2 pounds. So you don't have to really worry about the tail. But the arms, like I would say, are going to be like 3 to 5 pounds, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I want you to hold, 2 5-pound weights and then just hold them at arm's length and see how long you go. So I try and make them as light as I can. And these ones, my friend helps me make the feathers. She did a really good job of using, because they're for a harpy set. So I told her be really light on the glue with those. So we'll see. I can weigh them before I ship them out if you want to know. I want to make a set of wings, but I'm in a wheelchair, so I'd have to mount them on my chair. Where should I start? So like I make the back plates I make. I have nothing here. The back plates that I make are basically a laser cut aluminum with a standoff plate that you mount the wings to. And honestly, it's super easy to make just a back plate that can affix to the back of your. I guess I have to ask, is it a fabric-backed chair, or is the wheelchair like an automatic chair that has a hard back? It doesn't move. Because if it doesn't move, then, I mean, heck, you could just mount a plate to the back and mount them on the chair from there. Super easy. If you have a fabric-backed chair, a little trickier, but totally doable. I think I need water. I'm getting raspy. Fabric. Poop. Alright. So, I mean, you could, theoretically, you're still going to have to make a plate because you need the wings themselves to be in a static position where they pivot from. Like, those points can't, well, they can move. It's a really bad idea because things will torsion and shear. But,
Mounting will not be a problem. Oh, you're saying you have to mount them. I thought you were asking about mounting. Sorry. I mean, the mechanism then is the same. Like the mounting plate and the wings. I mean, the way the wings function should be exactly the same. Now, that being said, if you want to get a greater wingspan, you can mess with the proportion of the framework to get it so that instead of only coming up to here and then going down farther, because I like mine to kind of just come up a little bit and then drop down to like my knees. But that kind of proportion in a wheelchair means that your feathers are going to be dragging on the ground, which you don't want. You can mess with the proportion. You're going to have to mess with the distance between the pivot mounts to get it to collapse back down nice. But you could have it come higher and then not drop down as low, and then they'll still open to a nice big wingspan. Mm-hmm. So, does that answer your question? I don't know. Okay. Where are my pieces go? Hold up. I'm gonna get some water because I'm dying here. Yes. Delicious. Alright. Much better. Can the design be improved? I mean, like adding a new fold so they stand parallel to the spine. Or open horizontally and then being able to extend even more vertically. I'm going to say probably, because I don't know. Can the design be... So when you say adding a new fold, you mean like adding a fourth pivot point? And what do you mean? Oh, parallel to the spine. So like when they, instead of being like out. So you can do that. It's a matter of messing with how they... you wouldn't be adding another fold. I mean, you can, I guess. But it then will no longer have the correct anatomy of a wing. What you actually would want to do to have it stand more parallel is to curve your top bar and feathers just ever so slightly to get them to curve more. I haven't done it because it requires a lot more fabric for those big feathers and a lot more time. And I'm lazy. And so far, like, I just haven't wanted to deal with it. The other thing, too, is like when it opens, it will still stay partially curved. You can lower or shorten the base piece a little bit, and that will bring it from, that will basically bring the angle down. But like I like my wings to kind of extend up at a slight angle when they're done, and so that means that the shorter the piece at the bottom is, the farther down your wing comes, and you pretty much don't want them to droop ever. Like if they come straight out, it's fine, but then if they like are pointed slightly down, that's just weird. So you can get them parallel. Honestly, it's the number of feathers you use. The fewer feathers you use, the less frictional force and less gunk basically you have in between that joint, and so it'll close more. And then you can mess with the proportions to get them slightly more, and you can curve them. And each of those comes with its own set of challenges and changes in the look. And so it's up to you. I just had someone who made a set of wings for Halloween using the tutorials, and they curved their last that curve that piece at the top to basically get it to collapse in closer to them. And it worked really well. It did, but it created this wing that, instead of kind of being straight up at all, it, kind of came up and then it curled back down again, which is not bad. It's a design. I just don't like it. For me, if a customer asked for it, I would do it. The army got me a chair and will stand me up with the slightest movement. I'm 6 feet, so it gives me a bit of room. What do you mean it stands you up? Like when you move, can you stand, or it holds you up like Hannibal Lecter? It's the thing I can think of. Like you're strapped in and then you stand? I don't get it. Sorry for interrupting something. You're not interrupting anything. Other than me going and getting a drink of water. Yes. Cool. You should totally do Hannibal Lecter. That would be awesome. But wait, so it has a fabric back. Well, you're going to want to basically make the proportions such that when you're sitting, it's not going to drag on the ground. But will still look impressive when you're standing. At 6 feet tall, you're probably going to want a 12-foot wingspan or more. Yeah. It's because your friends are cool. So because you're going to be sitting sometimes, so you do have to have them proportioned so that you're not dragging them around. But yeah, if you're 6 feet tall, you're going to want to do probably a 12-foot wingspan. Totally not that hard to do. I feel like mine only really go to my knees. So even with the proportions on Patreon, you should be able, it should be the right size for you. Can I set it higher on the chair? I mean, I would set it so that the top bolt is kind of about, the upper part of the shoulder blade. You can put it wherever you want so that it looks good, or wherever it's easy to mount. You want it, I wouldn't get it you don't want it obviously above your shoulders at all. But that's me, I guess. I don't know. But you might even, if you start messing with the proportions, you could probably get it as large as 14, 16 feet. You just have to get it so that it stands, it'll come off your shoulder and then it'll stand higher. Basically, like I said in my video about creating a design, if you think of a wing like an arm, you have the bicep and then the forearm and then the wrist and the hand and the elbow and the shoulder, and that's how this wing moves. And so if you shorten the bicep and lengthen the forearm parts, you can make it so that even though it still comes off of your back, the whole thing will sit higher and open higher. So, have you thought about adapting your design to a hang glider? No. So a lot of people want me to fly with these. These are cosmetic only, and as cool as it would be to fly with a set of wings, it's very impractical flight-wise. While a wing is just an absolute marvel, recreating a wing-looking thing that then you can fly with is very difficult because nature is phenomenally better at everything ever than we are at engineering. I'm sorry. Evolution is a marvel. And I think that it's way easier to just have a hang glider. Like, it's design-wise, having individual articulating feathers, or even if I were to make, like, a collapsible hang glider that opens and closes. One of the things you really need to do is reduce weight in flight. And so when you're adding on actuators and all of this hardware to make things open and close, it starts to gunk up the system, and you start to add on lots of weight. Like, every pound counts. So these already weigh, 30 pounds and have gaps in them. So you could just decorate the hang glider. Yeah, like, I would just paint the hang glider with feathers. That'd be the way I'd go. Well, what's that one about the geese and she fly away home? Such a good movie. That's what I would do. Give a little goose head. I want to be able to open them as I'm rising. I mean, that's pretty simple to do. Actually, you could probably do a pulley system that is reactionary to the movement of your chair. So, like, as your chair is opening up, it's pulling on cables that are maybe affixed to the base, so that as you rise up, it pulls on the cables and opens the wings. The heavier the wings, the harder it is to open. But since you are not physically opening them with your arms, you could get away with probably some larger ones. I would make sure that you have the website open to buy actuators just in case. But another thing is you can basically wire the actuators to respond to whatever it is you do so, like, I don't know, you said whenever you move it stands you up, but I'm assuming there's, like, something that triggers specifically standing up versus going forward or whatever. So whatever that trigger is, be it a handheld remote or if there's a motion, if you put the wire that powers the motor that opens your chair, you could run power from that same command to the actuators so that they do it at the same time. Not gonna lie, you look like Alex Dunphy from Modern Family. Who's that? Whoa. I think she's cute. This is not what I want. There we go. But yeah, so there's several ways you could have it so that when your chair goes up, they open. But kind of depends on whether you want to do pulleys or. I mean, I would try pulleys, but it's going to be a lot of weight, and you're going to have to, though, because I'm assuming that gives you about 2 to 3 feet of lift. No motors, just hydraulics. Ew. Okay, so then yes. Okay, so like you lean forward like you're gonna stand up, and then it pushes you up with the hydraulics. Cool. Neat. In that case, pulleys would probably be the way to go since there's no motors or electrics that control that motion. Although, another thing you could do, if the pulley system doesn't work, because I come up with a backup plan. Backup plan is if you do the actuators, you can get the remote system, and it would just be you press a button, you go to stand and you press the button to open them. Why don't you do that? Not nearly as cool. I would try the pulleys. I bet you can make the pulleys work if you get the right size cabling. Just keep in mind the other thing, and like I said, you have 3 feet of movement, and I think you're probably only going to need a maximum of 6 inches of throw for the movement of the wing itself. So you can actually, run a pretty good pulley system to reduce the load on the cabling. well. I like this plan. Let's do it. All right, we got 10 more minutes. If you have any other questions, now is the time, because I have to get to bed someday. If you allow me to ask, in your video about fake feathers, what was that noise? I don't know. Probably my birds, I guess? What noise? I have 2 parrots, and I'm assuming they're squalling is what you're talking about. But I don't know. I'd have to watch the video, I guess. Yeah. No. Derp, 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 derp. Burp. You all. Okay. Okay, birds. Yes. Have you pitched your designs at fashion shows, e.g., Victoria's Secret? I have not. I had. It's one of those things. I know how the Victoria's Secret process works. They work with basically Broadway and opera and like they don't work with people that sell wings. They work with people that make costumes, and they come up with designs, and then these costume makers make them. And to be honest, I don't think I'm there yet in terms of a pitch. There's a lot of refining in terms of the quality of the look of the back brace. Now, admittedly, I'm not paid enough. Like I've tried to reduce costs a lot, and so like my back brace design is very functional and can be covered up pretty easily, but it's not pretty necessarily in and of itself. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the difference. Is I don't feel like I'm quite there yet. And honestly, whatever. If they approach me, I'm totally cool working for them. But and I would love to. But right now, I can barely keep up with the people that actually want me to make wings for them. So I don't do pitches yet because I don't have time either. So thanks. I'll be studying all your vids. Thanks. You're amazing too. Military macaw. They're so pretty. I love macaws. They're so gorgeous and they're so cute, snuggly, and I just want to hug them. Yeah. Someday, when I don't have conures anymore, which will be in, 35 years. So, it's just a random question. Do you have a very specific formula for the proportions of the struts used, or is it just go for it? If it works, it works. No, I have a formula. Well, formula. I have a base design. Basically, what I did is I did the proportions based off of a guy called Bushitaka on DeviantArt, and he made a set, and I tried his proportions, and they were a little low for the first one that I did. Like, the person that wanted them to come up higher. So I changed the proportion. I'm kind of going back to the lower because it allows for the wings to go lower on the body, like I said. But basically what you do is you take, I don't know, if you're on my Patreon, then you can look up the proportions that I've used in the past, and I'll be updating them soon with new proportions for the shorter style. But basically, I take a design framework that works, and then I drill holes at like 1/2 inch intervals. Like you wouldn't want to do this on the set that you're using, but do it at 1/2 inch intervals, a couple on either side of that hole. And then what I do is I move the bolts along to see how that changes how the wing itself moves. And then I scale up or down depending on the wingspan I want. And I know that the proportions look good for that set for a 12-foot wingspan. And so I say, okay, well, I want an 8-foot wingspan. And then I, take the measurement and divide by 12 and multiply by 8. And that's how I get the next proportion. And usually there's something a little weird, and I try it out, and I'm like, oh, this bolt needs to be moved, because now I've experimented and I know where moving things, what that does. If I need to move a bolt over, I do. But typically it works pretty well. Alexa, I emailed you a while back about the wings. I'd like a pair, but I don't know what size would be best for me. You did. How far back did you email me? Because emails pile up a lot. I actually have a friend screen them for me because it was getting to the point where I was spending 3-4 hours a day answering emails. Things have gotten a little less crazy, but yeah, I will spend all day on emails and on Facebook, like answering people, and it's bad. So it's every 3 to 5 days. She usually gets on there, sometimes 7. And so, sorry if it takes a while for me to get back to you on email. I just can't anymore because I actually need to get things done. So, how tall are you? I can tell you right now what'll look good. And loud. Yeah, birds are loud. I don't know. I've gotten used to it. I'm like numb to the noise now. I saw you on Discovery Science TV ad. You and your wings were in it. Yeah, Discovery Science. That's awesome. That was a lot of fun to do. I think it was funny though, because like that segment that I was in was, I don't know, like 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long. I don't even know. It was very short, and they interviewed me for an hour and a half, and asked me questions, and I think I answered one question in the whole thing. It was pretty fun. Having the cylinder on the bottom of the wings. I have played with the position of the cylinder a lot, and I don't know. There's a lot of different reasons why I do what I do. I do like putting the cylinder like attached to the base and then to the wing also works. But it's just in terms of speediness and ease when putting them together. I have a lot less problems with the position that I have now. And I like to experiment when I have time. I haven't had any time to continue to play with it and come up with a better system. So maybe in the future. But yeah, I tried it. It's just not as easy. Square or round for framework? Square, 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 square. People do use round a lot, especially if you're using PVC, because PVC comes round. PVC is, it moves, it torques, it's awful. And with square, when you drill down, if you're using a drill press especially, you're going to get a straight shot. Whereas if, you have, let me open this up so you can see if I'm actually doing this right. So, if you think of a round tube, if you manage to get it straight in the middle, you're good. But if you're off to either side, you're going to have basically an imperfect pivot point. And it's going to catch and it's going to shatter your frame. And I know this from experience. So, and even using a drill press, getting it perfect is practically impossible. Square, and square, even if, you shift it to one side or the other of the square, it's still a straight shot and it still gives you a pivot plane. And, you're not going to bind square. Hello, Nubia. Zara, it was far back. Did I not? Reticulating. I don't know. You're gonna have to keep on top of me, dude. If I'm not getting back to you on emails, I'm so sorry. But emails get lost in the fray all the time, and I don't know what to do about it. I mark unread if I don't reply, and I, have a system, but people still slip through. So, if I ever don't get back to you in a week, always feel free to email me. you're 5'3". I feel like I remember this. 5'3", you can get away with a 10-foot set, or even a 12-foot set. If you want them to look huge, you can go to 14. I would not go any larger than that. Like 16-foot is just heavy and obnoxious. And at 5'3", I think you could technically wear them and not have them drag on the ground. I can't. That's as big as you could probably go, but they're enormous and unnecessary. So, I'd go 10 at 5'3". Nice and light. Chrissy. Okay then, because I'm trying to make wings from... I can't pronounce that. What are you doing throwing fantasy names at me? From Magic the Gathering, and I've had to redesign a few times because the struts throw me off sometimes. What do you mean? What do you mean the struts throw you off? I basically, like, if you look at my videos of the framework, it's just square aluminum tubing with pivot holes drilled in. Is wood or metal better to use? Definitely metal. I use aluminum. It's gonna weigh just about the same. Yeah, it's gonna weigh just about the same, and it's gonna be way sturdier because, like, if you catch the wrong spot in the wood, where the grain is doing a thing and it's a little bit weak, that pivot point at any point, you get too much friction in there, dust gets in there, something, anything, it can like torque it and just shatter the wood. Versus metal, like, it might warp it a little bit, maybe, but it's so strong in comparison. And the weight is ever so slightly more, maybe, but not by enough that it's not worth it. Do you have any plans to use 3D printing? Yes, I do. For what? I'm not sure yet, but I would love to use 3D printing. It's so cool. I also, right now I'm really into laser cutting, and that's a lot of fun. And I want to start doing more with, like, acrylic and etched acrylic. And I really want to do some work with, we've got this really good CNC router that I want to work on. She has some pretty large wings. I'm going to look this up for you. Hold up. AVACYN. I can type. AVACYN. Okay. Shit. No, it's fine. I can't type today. Coffee.
Yeah.
Image. Let's see. I'm almost done. Oh, actually, technically I am done, but whatever. Okay. I don't know. Her proportions seem pretty typical, but what you might want to do is make your frame, because they're long. Certainly, she has a very narrow wing, very beautiful. I like them. Oh boy. There's ones with white wings, and then there's ones with the red tips. Yeah, that one's cool. I've actually seen a cosplayer do this one. What you need to do, because I see what you mean with the proportion. What you need to do to get this wing to look right is basically, remember how I said, like, you're doing the framework, put holes on either side? Get the framework so that when the wrist joint is locked in the open position, so, like, it opens all the way, and then it basically, the frame jams and stops, because the framework is hitting itself. It's in its most open position. And for me, usually I try and get that not perfectly straight, but a relatively straight wing. What you're going to want to do is keep the wrist joint so that it's straight, and then everything else stays bent slightly low so that you can create the sleeve that goes over. You can give it a really big swoop so that when it is fully open, it has that swoop. And you're going to probably actually have to build a little foam piece that to come back in on itself to create that look, maybe, depending on how, like, I'm looking at several different pictures of her card, and Oh, maybe not. This might just be an artist rendition. But yeah, I like it. It's pretty. But yeah, so you're gonna wanna basically play with the proportion and just don't try and make the wing based on other people's proportion. Get some. You could even make your trial out of wood since it's cheaper. But at least I think it's cheaper. It's not that expensive for aluminum. But basically create your proportions. Just like put holes all the way along them and test out proportion until you can get it to like fully open on the wrist and then be bent here so that you can create the sleeve so that it has that nice angle. Yeah. Lol Uzi Vert, do you have a life? Because I have 3 more left. 3 more left. I do have a life, but go for it. And I'll let you know what time is it? 9:05. I got a couple more minutes. Go. Go, go, go. I don't have much of a life, though. If it makes you feel any better. Can you send me one? What? Send you a set of wings? For orders, go to thecrookedfeahter.com. Or you can do the Crooked Feather on Candy Crush. What shipping company? I do USPS. It's cheapest. You died? Ha ha ha. I think I'm too tired to laugh at that joke. Okay, cool. Well, on that note, on that silly joke, I think I will leave you. So yeah, if you're on Patreon, I know some people manage to stumble upon this sometimes, but if you're on my Patreon, I will let you know next month. We're gonna do another one, and I actually might do a half-hour open one for the masses. And I'll let you know if I do that one. You're more than welcome to go to those too. So, anyway, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys later. Bye.